The patrol lights hit the rearview mirror like a warning flare. Red. Blue. Red again. Marcus Reed slowed his car and pulled to the curb. His hands stayed on the wheel. He had done this before. He already knew the rules. Window down. Engine off. Eyes forward. Boots crunched on gravel. Don't move. The voice came sharp, impatient, already tired of him. Marcus swallowed. Yes, officer. The flashlight beam slid across his face. Too slow. Too close. Where you coming from? The officer asked. Work. What kind of work? Marcus paused. He felt it, the shift. The question behind the question. I'm an intern, he said carefully. The officer smirked. That right? Marcus felt his chest tighten. His phone vibrated in his pocket. Still recording. The officer leaned in, elbows on the door. His badge glinted under the light. You look nervous, the officer said. That usually means something. I'm just pulled over, Marcus replied. Silence. Then the officer's voice dropped. You know how fast things can go wrong for people like you. Marcus's jaw locked. Across the street, a porch light flicked on. Someone was watching. The officer straightened and stepped back. One hand rested on his belt. Step out of the vehicle, he said. Marcus opened the door. As he stepped onto the asphalt, the officer added one quiet line, soft, almost casual. Let's see what you're really hiding. The door shut behind Marcus. And nothing felt normal anymore. The officer didn't rush. That was the first thing Marcus noticed. Most cops walked fast. This one didn't. His boots moved slow across the pavement, like time was on his side. Like Marcus wasn't going anywhere. Hands where I can see them. Marcus lifted them higher on the steering wheel. His fingers felt stiff. Yes, sir. The flashlight cut across the inside of the car. The beam paused on the back seat. On the empty floor. On Marcus's face. License and registration. Marcus reached carefully. He moved slow, the way he had been taught. The way his father had taught him. Take your time, the officer said. I don't want any surprises. The words sounded polite. The tone wasn't. Marcus handed over the documents. The officer looked at the name. Marcus Reed. He said it out loud. Slowly. Marcus Reed. Marcus nodded. That's me. The officer tilted his head. Where you headed tonight, Marcus Reed? Home. From where? Work. What kind of work? Marcus hesitated. Not long. Just long enough. The officer smiled. Why the pause? I work late, Marcus said. I'm an intern. The officer let out a quiet laugh. An intern. He stepped back and shined the light down the side of the car. Nice vehicle, he said. Must pay well. Marcus didn't answer. Silence stretched. A car passed behind them. Tires hissed on asphalt. You always get quiet like this around police? The officer asked. Marcus kept his voice even. I'm just answering your questions. The officer leaned closer. Too close. See, that's the thing, he said. I'm not sure you are. Marcus felt his heartbeat in his throat. What seems to be the problem, officer? The officer straightened. His hand rested on his belt. You rolled through that stop sign back there. Marcus frowned. I stopped. The officer shrugged. Didn't look like it. A porch light flicked on across the street. Someone stepped outside. Watched. The officer noticed. Stay right there, he said. He walked back to the patrol car. The radio crackled. Static. Low voices. Marcus breathed slowly. In. Out. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Still recording. The officer returned. Step out of the vehicle. Marcus opened the door. The night air felt cold. He stood on the curb. Hands visible. Turn around, the officer said. Marcus did. Place your hands on the roof. Marcus froze for half a second. Then he did it. The officer moved in close. Too close again. This is just for my safety, he said. Marcus stared at the dark street ahead. Nothing about this felt safe. The officer's voice dropped. People lie all the time, Marcus. Marcus swallowed. And tonight, the officer said, I'm going to find out which one you are. Marcus spread his fingers on the cold metal roof. He made them wide. Visible. Obvious. The officer stood close behind him. Too close. Marcus could smell coffee on his breath. Something sour underneath. Don't move, the officer said. I'm not, Marcus replied. The officer's hands slid down Marcus's arms. Slow. Firm. Not searching yet. Claiming space. You got anything on you I should know about? The officer asked. No, sir. No weapons. No. No drugs. No. The officer hummed, like he didn't believe any of it. Funny thing, he said. Everyone says that. His hands moved to Marcus's pockets. Pressed. Probed. Marcus stiffened. Relax, the officer said. Unless you've got a reason not to. I'm relaxed, Marcus said. The officer chuckled. You sure don't feel like it. Across the street, the person on the porch shifted. Marcus could feel eyes on his back now. That made the officer slower. More deliberate. The search continued. Too long. Too thorough. The officer patted Marcus's waist. His legs. Then higher than necessary on his back. Marcus's jaw tightened. Spread your feet wider. Marcus did. Wider. He did again. The officer stepped back. Turn your head, he said. Look at me. Marcus turned just enough. The officer's eyes were narrow. Studying. Waiting for something to crack. You know why stops like this go bad? The officer asked. Marcus didn't answer. Because people don't listen, the officer said. They argue. They resist. I'm listening, Marcus said quietly. The officer leaned in. Listening isn't the same as cooperating. What else do you need me to do? Marcus asked. The officer smiled, thin and sharp. That depends, he said. He walked a slow circle around Marcus. Boots scraping. A performance. Where exactly do you work? He asked. Marcus hesitated again. Just a breath. The officer stopped walking. There it is, he said. That pause. I already told you, Marcus said. I'm an intern. An intern where? Marcus felt the trap closing. At a legal office, he said. The officer raised his eyebrows. Legal? Yes. So you think you know the law? No. Because people who think they know the law are usually the problem, the officer said. A second set of headlights appeared at the end of the street. Slowed. Stopped. Another patrol car. Marcus's stomach dropped. The officer noticed his reaction. You nervous now? He asked. I've been calm, Marcus said. The officer shrugged. Hard to tell. The second officer stepped out. Younger. Watching. What's going on? The second officer asked. Routine stop, the first officer said. He's being checked. The second officer nodded. Didn't ask more. The first officer turned back to Marcus. You match a general description, he said. Marcus blinked. Description of what? The officer didn't answer. Can you tell me what I'm being detained for? Marcus asked. The officer's smile vanished. I decide that, he said. Not you. Marcus felt heat rise in his chest. He pushed it down. I'm complying, he said. Are you? The officer asked. He stepped closer again. Because from where I'm standing, he said. You're acting nervous. I'm being searched on the side of the road, Marcus said. Anyone would be. The officer's voice hardened. Careful, he said. That sounds like an excuse. The second officer shifted his weight. Looked away. A phone lifted somewhere behind Marcus. A click. The first officer noticed. His shoulders stiffened. Who's recording? He asked. No one answered. The officer exhaled through his nose. This doesn't have to get complicated, he said to Marcus. I don't want it to, Marcus replied. Then do exactly what I say, the officer said. He grabbed Marcus's wrist. Not rough. Not gentle. Hands behind your back. Marcus froze. For what reason? He asked. Officer safety, the officer said. Marcus's heart pounded. I haven't done anything, he said. That's not how this works, the officer replied. The cuffs came out. Metal glinting under the streetlight. Marcus realized something then. Clear and sharp. Compliance hadn't stopped anything. It had only made it easier. Turn around, the officer said. Marcus did. The cuffs clicked open. Cold air hit his wrists. And the street went very quiet. The cuffs closed with a sound Marcus felt in his teeth. Click. Click. Not tight. Not loose. Just enough to remind him who controlled his body now. Stand still, the officer said. Marcus stood. The metal pressed into his wrists. He flexed his fingers once, then stopped. He remembered every warning he had ever been given. Don't give them a reason. The officer stepped back and looked him over, like a finished task. You see, the officer said, this goes a lot smoother when people cooperate. Marcus stared straight ahead. I did cooperate. The officer ignored that. The second officer watched from a few steps away. His face was blank. His hands stayed near his vest. Not helping. Not stopping anything. A car slowed as it passed. Someone inside stared too long. Marcus felt heat on his neck. The weight of being seen. Of being small and exposed at the same time. "What are you arresting me for?" Marcus asked. "Detaining," the officer corrected. "Get the words right." "For what?" Marcus asked again. The officer walked closer. Lowered his voice. "Suspicion," he said. "Suspicion of what?" "Don't push it." Marcus breathed in through his nose. Out through his mouth. "Am I free to go?" he asked. The officer smiled. "No." Silence. The porch across the street creaked. Someone stepped closer to the curb. A phone came up. Marcus could hear it now. The faint sound of video starting. The officer heard it too. He turned his head slightly. His jaw tightened. "Who's filming?" he asked. No one answered. "That's fine," the officer said. "Just makes things clearer." He stepped in front of Marcus again. "Anything in your pockets I should remove?" he asked. "My phone," Marcus said. The officer's eyes flicked down. "Where is it?" "Front hoodie pocket." The officer reached in and pulled it out. The screen was lit. A small red dot blinked. "Recording." The officer froze for half a second. Just half. Then he turned the screen toward himself. Marcus watched his thumb hover. "You recording me?" the officer asked. "Yes," Marcus said. The officer's smile came back. Thin. Controlled. "Why?" "For my safety," Marcus said. The officer let out a short laugh. "That's my line." He tilted the phone. "You know you can't record police during an active stop," he said. Marcus's stomach tightened. "That's not true." The officer's eyes snapped up. "Oh," he said. "You a lawyer now?" "No," Marcus said. "But it's legal." The second officer shifted. Looked at the phone. Then away. The officer turned the screen back toward Marcus. The red dot still blinked. "You want to make this harder on yourself?" the officer asked. "I'm not trying to make it hard," Marcus said. "I just want everything clear." The officer leaned in. "Clear for who?" he asked. "For everyone," Marcus said. The officer straightened. He took a step back and raised his voice. "Turn the recording off." Marcus shook his head slowly. "I don't consent to that." The street felt tighter. Like the air had thickened. The officer's face hardened. "You don't get to consent," he said. "I do," Marcus replied. His voice shook just a little. The officer stared at him. Long measuring. Then he turned to the second officer. "Watch him," he said. He walked to the patrol car with Marcus's phone. Marcus twisted his neck as far as the cuffs allowed. He watched the officer open the door. "Get inside." The phone disappeared from view. Panic flared in Marcus's chest. "Sir," Marcus called out. "You can't delete that." The officer didn't answer. The patrol car door closed. The engine stayed off. Time stretched. The second officer avoided Marcus's eyes. A notification sound came from inside the patrol car. Then another. Marcus's heart hammered. He realized then what the real fight was. Not the cuffs. Not the stop. The record. If that disappeared, so did the truth. The patrol car door opened. The officer stepped out. He held the phone loosely now. The red dot was gone. He walked back toward Marcus. "Looks like you forgot to save it," he said. Marcus felt something break open inside his chest. "That recording matters," Marcus said. The officer smiled. "Not tonight," he said. And Marcus knew this had crossed into something else. Something that wouldn't end here. The phone felt heavier than it should have in the officer's hand. Marcus could see it now. How carefully he held it. How deliberate every movement was. "You can't do that," Marcus said. The officer didn't answer. He slipped the phone into his jacket pocket instead of the evidence bag. A choice. Marcus felt the weight of it settle in his chest. Across the street, the porch light burned brighter. 2 more doors opened. Shoes hit concrete. Voices murmured low. The officer noticed. His posture shifted. Not softer. Sharper. He turned to the second officer. "Keep an eye on the crowd." The second officer nodded, uneasy. Marcus tested the cuffs again. They bit into his wrists. "Am I under arrest?" Marcus asked. The officer stepped close enough that Marcus could feel his breath again. "Not yet," he said. "But you're getting there." "For what?" Marcus asked. The officer smiled without warmth. "For acting suspicious." I'm standing here in cuffs, Marcus said. That's not suspicious. That's controlled. The officer's eyes flicked toward the growing group. A phone lifted. Then another. Red lights reflected off glass screens now. The officer raised his voice, just enough for them to hear. Sir, calm down. Marcus stared at him. I am calm. Stop resisting, the officer said louder. Marcus's heart jumped. I'm not resisting, he said. A woman across the street gasped. Someone whispered, he's not doing anything. The officer ignored it. You see, he said quietly to Marcus, this is why things escalate. What's escalating is you, Marcus replied. The officer's jaw tightened. He stepped back and spoke into his radio. Dispatch, start a supervisor, he said. Subject is noncompliant. Marcus felt the word hit like a punch. Noncompliant. I've followed every instruction, Marcus said. The officer leaned in again. You questioned me. That's not noncompliance, Marcus said. The officer tilted his head. It is when I say it is. The crowd grew bolder. A man stepped closer to the curb. Hey, the man called out. Why's he cuffed? The officer didn't look at him. Sir, back up, the officer said. This is an active investigation. What investigation? The man asked. The officer turned. Back up, he repeated. The man hesitated, then stepped back. His phone stayed up. Marcus felt exposed. Every breath, every blink, recorded from angles he couldn't see. The officer's voice dropped again. You like an audience? He asked Marcus. No, Marcus said. But I don't feel safe alone with you. That did it. The officer's eyes flashed. You're accusing me now, he said. I'm stating how I feel, Marcus replied. The officer straightened and addressed the crowd. This individual is being detained for suspicious behavior, he said. Please disperse. No one moved. A woman shook her head. He ain't done nothing. The officer's shoulders stiffened. This is your last warning, he said. He turned back to Marcus. You should have kept your mouth shut, he said quietly. Marcus swallowed. I shouldn't have to. The officer reached for Marcus's arm. Not rough. Not gentle. Face the patrol car, he said. Why? Marcus asked. Because I said so. The second officer shifted again. His eyes darted between the crowd and his partner. Do we really need? He started. Watch the perimeter, the officer snapped. The second officer went silent. Marcus was guided forward. Each step felt like surrender. The hood of the patrol car pressed cold against his chest. Spread your feet, the officer said. Marcus did. Wider. He did again. The officer leaned in close to his ear. You think cameras protect you, he whispered. They don't. Marcus closed his eyes. A siren wailed somewhere far off. Closer than before. The officer stepped back and raised his voice again. Stop moving. I didn't move, Marcus said. The officer slammed a hand on the car hood. Stop resisting. The crowd erupted. That's a lie. Leave him alone. Phones shook. Voices overlapped. The officer's face hardened into something else now. Something colder. He spoke into the radio again. Supervisor is en route, he said. Advise expedited. Marcus's pulse raced. A supervisor meant witnesses. Records. Questions. Or protection. He didn't know which way it would go. The officer leaned close one last time. This could have been easy, he said. Marcus stared at the dark reflection in the patrol car hood. His own face looked small. Trapped. He realized something then. This wasn't about a stop sign. It was about control. And now, with all these eyes, control was slipping. Red and blue lights appeared at the end of the street. Closer. Marcus felt the crowd hold its breath. So did the officer. The supervisor's car rolled in slow, lights still spinning. It didn't rush either. Marcus noticed that too. The officer straightened his uniform as the car stopped behind them. He stepped back from Marcus, creating space that hadn't existed before. Stand by, he said, suddenly formal. The supervisor stepped out. Mid-40s. Calm face. Tired eyes. He scanned the scene before speaking. What do we have? The supervisor asked. The officer answered quickly. Too quickly. Subject failed to stop properly, he said. Became evasive. Non-compliant during detention. Marcus felt the words stack up like bricks. The supervisor looked at Marcus. Then at the cuffs. Sir, the supervisor said. Do you understand why you're being detained? Marcus swallowed. No, sir. The officer cut in. He's argumentative. Marcus turned his head slightly. I've asked for reasons. I haven't argued. The supervisor raised a hand. One at a time, he said. He looked back at Marcus. What's your name? Marcus Reed. The supervisor nodded. Age? 23. Occupation? Marcus hesitated. The officer noticed. There's that pause again, the officer said. Marcus took a breath. I work as a legal intern. The supervisor's eyes sharpened. Just a little. Where? He asked. Marcus felt every phone pointed at him now. The street was quiet enough to hear his own breathing. At the district attorney's office, he said. The officer laughed. Loud. Sharp. That's convenient, he said. Everyone's got a story. Marcus didn't look at him. My father works there, Marcus added. His voice stayed even. He's an assistant district prosecutor. The street shifted. Not loudly. Not visibly. But it shifted. The supervisor's face changed first. Not shock. Recognition. What's your father's name? He asked. Daniel Reed. Silence dropped like a held breath. The officer's smile froze. Then cracked. That doesn't change anything, he said quickly. Marcus finally turned his head fully. I didn't say it did, Marcus replied. I said it's true. The supervisor stared at the officer. Did you verify his ID? The supervisor asked. The officer hesitated. You ran him, the supervisor pressed. Yes, the officer said. It's pending. The supervisor's jaw tightened. Where is his phone? The supervisor asked. The officer shifted his weight. Secured. Where? The supervisor repeated. The officer reached into his jacket and pulled it out. The supervisor took it. He turned the screen on. What happened to the recording? The supervisor asked. The officer spoke fast. He failed to save it. Marcus shook his head. That's not true. The supervisor looked at Marcus. Explain. It was recording, Marcus said. He took it. When he gave it back, it was gone. The supervisor looked back at the officer. Is that accurate? He asked. The officer's jaw flexed. I didn't delete anything. You accessed the phone? The supervisor asked. Yes, the officer said. For officer safety. The supervisor exhaled slowly. Phones around them were very still now. Uncuff him, the supervisor said. The officer stared. Sir. Uncuff him, the supervisor repeated. The officer moved closer to Marcus. His hands shook as he unlocked the cuffs. Click. Click. Marcus rubbed his wrists. Red marks burned against his skin. You're not free to go yet, the officer said quickly. The supervisor turned to him. You've said enough, he said. The officer opened his mouth. Closed it. The supervisor turned back to Marcus. Sir, he said, you are not under arrest. Marcus nodded. Thank you. The supervisor lowered his voice. Your father handles internal misconduct cases, doesn't he? Marcus met his eyes. Yes. The officer stiffened. The supervisor looked at the officer again. Step back, he said. The officer didn't move. Step back, the supervisor said again. The officer obeyed. The supervisor spoke clearly now. We're preserving all footage, he said. Body cams. Dash cams. Dispatch logs. The officer's face drained of color. That's not necessary, he said. The supervisor looked at him. It absolutely is. The crowd murmured. Phones lifted higher. Marcus felt his legs tremble. Relief mixed with something else. Anger. Fear. Exhaustion. The supervisor turned back to Marcus. Do you feel safe? He asked. Marcus thought about the cuffs. The lies. The missing recording. No, he said. Not tonight. The supervisor nodded once. Understood. He turned toward the patrol cars. Officer Harlan, he said. You're relieved of field duty pending review. The officer's head snapped up. You can't. I can, the supervisor said. The officer stood frozen. Marcus watched the power drain out of him. And knew this wasn't over. Not even close. The supervisor didn't raise his voice. That was the most dangerous part. Body cams stay on, he said. Dash cams too. No exceptions. Officer Harlan stood stiff, hands clenched at his sides. His eyes flicked to the crowd. To the phones. To Marcus. This is unnecessary, Harlan said. The situation is under control. The supervisor looked at him. You lost control the moment you touched his phone. Harlan's jaw worked. I was following procedure. Procedure doesn't include accessing private property without cause, the supervisor said. Marcus stood a few steps back now. Free but not safe. His wrists still burned. He kept rubbing them, like the marks might disappear faster if he tried hard enough. The supervisor turned to the second officer. Your body cam is on, he asked. Yes, sir, the second officer replied quickly. Has it been on since arrival? Yes. The supervisor nodded. Good. Harlan shifted. My body cam malfunctioned earlier. The supervisor's eyes lifted. When? Before the stop, Harlan said. Convenient, the supervisor replied. Harlan's face flushed. Sir, with respect. Stop, the supervisor said. The word landed heavy. He turned to Marcus. You said the phone was recording. Yes, Marcus said. From the moment he walked up. Did you stop it? No. Did you delete anything? No. The supervisor nodded again. Dispatch, he said into his radio. Lock all digital records related to this stop. Timestamp included. A crackle of response came back. Copy. Harlan took a step forward. Sir, that's not necessary. We can resolve this here. The supervisor didn't look at him. Step back, he said. Harlan didn't move. The crowd leaned in. Phones tilted. Someone whispered Harlan's name. The supervisor finally turned. Officer, he said evenly, you are not in charge anymore. Harlan's shoulders dropped. Just a little. Now step back. Harlan did. The supervisor turned back to Marcus. Did he threaten you? He asked. Marcus hesitated. Harlan's eyes burned into him. He implied things, Marcus said. About how fast things could go wrong. The supervisor wrote something down. Did he accuse you of resisting? Yes. Did you resist? No. The supervisor nodded once more. Multiple witnesses, he said quietly. Harlan laughed suddenly. Sharp. Defensive. You're really going to do this? He said. Over some kid who knows the law? The supervisor looked at him like he'd said something important without meaning to. This isn't about knowing the law, the supervisor said. It's about breaking it. Harlan's face hardened. You're taking his side. There are no sides, the supervisor replied. There is footage. Silence followed that. Evidence didn't argue. Didn't raise its voice. Didn't care who wore the badge. The supervisor turned to the second officer. Escort Officer Harlan to his vehicle, he said. He's done for the night. Harlan's head snapped up. You can't sideline me in front of civilians. The supervisor met his eyes. I can, he said. And I am. The second officer hesitated, then nodded. Yes, sir. Harlan looked at Marcus as he passed him. The look wasn't anger anymore. It was calculation. You think this makes you untouchable? Harlan said under his breath. Marcus met his eyes. No. Harlan scoffed. Good. He was led away. The supervisor turned to the crowd. This stop is concluded, he said. You're free to go. No one moved right away. Phones stayed up. The supervisor waited. Patient. Slowly, people stepped back. Porch lights dimmed. Doors closed. The street grew quiet again. Too quiet. The supervisor turned back to Marcus. Do you want to file a complaint tonight? He asked. Marcus thought about the missing recording. The cuffs. The lies. Yes, he said. The supervisor nodded. We'll take a statement. He gestured toward his car. Marcus took a step forward. Then stopped. My phone, Marcus said. The supervisor held it out. We'll recover what we can. Marcus took it. The screen was dark. Empty. It matters, Marcus said quietly. I know, the supervisor replied. They stood there for a moment. Two men under a streetlight. One shaking. One steady. You did the right thing, the supervisor said. Marcus looked up. It didn't feel like it. It rarely does, the supervisor said. Another patrol car pulled away. Then another. Harlan's car stayed parked at the curb. Empty now. Marcus watched it as the supervisor spoke again. This will take time, he said. And it will get uncomfortable. Marcus nodded. I'm already uncomfortable. The supervisor allowed himself a thin smile. Fair, he said. He opened the door for Marcus. As Marcus stepped toward the car, he felt something settle inside him. Not relief. Resolve. Because now it wasn't just about what happened on this street. It was about what the evidence would say. And evidence didn't care about ego. The station smelled like old coffee and disinfectant. Marcus noticed it the moment he walked in. The supervisor led him to a small interview room. Gray walls. Metal table. 2 chairs. A camera in the corner. Have a seat, the supervisor said. Marcus sat. His legs finally started shaking. A clerk entered with a clipboard. No eye contact. State your name for the record, she said. Marcus Reed. Date of birth. He answered. The pen scratched fast. The supervisor watched from the doorway. Quiet. Observing. Tell us what happened, the clerk said. Marcus started at the beginning. The lights. The stop. The questions. The cuffs. As he spoke, the room felt smaller. He described the phone. The recording. The moment it vanished. The clerk paused. Looked up. You're certain it was recording? Yes. Do you have proof? Marcus hesitated. The file should exist. Should, she repeated, writing it down. The supervisor stepped in. We'll retrieve system footage. The clerk nodded. We'll see what's available. That word landed hard. Available. An hour passed. Then another. Marcus's phone was taken. Logged. Tagged. When it came back, the screen was blank. No recoverable file, the tech said. Marcus felt something sink. But body cams? Marcus asked. The tech shrugged. One malfunctioned. Marcus laughed once. Sharp. Empty. Of course it did. The supervisor's jaw tightened. Dash cam. Partially obstructed, the tech said. Marcus leaned back in his chair. So there's nothing, he said. Not nothing, the supervisor replied. Just gaps. Gaps. That was how the system breathed. Through gaps. A man in a suit entered. Mid-50s. Confident. I'm from legal, he said. We're reviewing the incident. Marcus stiffened. The man smiled thinly. We appreciate your cooperation. Am I being charged? Marcus asked. No, the man said quickly. Of course not. Then why am I still here? The man glanced at the supervisor. Procedure. Marcus felt tired down to his bones. My father knows about this, Marcus said. The man's smile flickered. Yes, he said. We're aware. That didn't sound reassuring. We'd like to resolve this quietly, the man added. Marcus looked at him. Quiet for who? For everyone, the man said. Mistakes happen. This wasn't a mistake, Marcus said. The man's voice cooled. Be careful. The supervisor stepped forward. He doesn't need advice. The man nodded. Just options. He slid a paper across the table. Decline to pursue, he said. No harm, no foul. Marcus stared at it. No harm. He thought of the cuffs. The lies. The fear. No, Marcus said. The man sighed. Then this gets complicated. The supervisor spoke. We're done here. The man stood. This department protects its own. So does the law, Marcus said. The man smiled again. We'll see. He left. The supervisor exhaled slowly. This is the pushback, he said. Marcus nodded. I expected it. Did you? The supervisor asked. Marcus didn't answer. Hours later, Marcus walked out into daylight. No charges. No apology. Just a card with a case number. His phone buzzed. A text from his father. I've been notified. We'll talk. Marcus sat on the station steps. The sun felt too bright. He realized something then. Justice wasn't a moment. It was a grind. And the system didn't push back loudly. It pushed back quietly. With paperwork. With delays. With silence. Marcus stood. He wasn't done. Not even close. The courtroom felt colder than the station. Marcus noticed it as soon as he sat down. The air didn't move. It pressed. Wood benches. White walls. A seal behind the judge's chair. Everything clean. Everything distant. Officer Harlan sat at the defense table in uniform. Perfectly pressed. Hands folded. Calm. Too calm. Marcus sat behind the prosecution line with his father beside him. Daniel Reed didn't touch him. Didn't need to. His presence was enough. Case on the record, the judge said. The room stood. Then sat. The prosecutor began with facts. Dates. Times. Procedure. No emotion. Marcus listened as his night was flattened into bullet points. Traffic stop. Detention. Use of restraints. No mention of fear. Or pressure. Or the way the cuffs burned. Harlan's attorney stood. Officer Harlan acted within reasonable discretion, he said. No excessive force. No unlawful arrest. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. The attorney continued. There is no complete recording from the civilian device, he said. The body camera malfunctioned. Dash cam footage is inconclusive. He spread his hands. Unfortunate, he said. But not criminal. Marcus's father leaned forward. Patterns matter, Daniel Reed said. The judge nodded slightly. The prosecutor called witnesses. The bystander from the porch stepped up. Nervous. Hands shaking. I saw him standing still, she said. I heard the officer say stop resisting. He wasn't moving. The defense attorney smiled politely. Ma'am, he said, you are not trained in police procedure, correct? No, she said. So you can't say what constitutes resistance. She hesitated. I can say what I saw. The attorney nodded. Thank you. Dismissed. The second officer testified next. Careful. Measured. I followed protocol, he said. I didn't observe misconduct. Did you hear Officer Harlan accuse the subject of resisting? The prosecutor asked. Yes. Did you see resistance? The officer paused. No, he said. A murmur moved through the room. Harlan stared straight ahead. The prosecutor played audio from dispatch. Time stamps. Calls. Marcus heard his own voice, small and steady, asking questions. Then Harlan's voice. Calm. Certain. Subject is non-compliant. The judge leaned in. The prosecutor stopped the audio. Where is the behavior that supports that claim? He asked. Silence. The defense objected. Technical language filled the room. Marcus felt the weight of it all pressed down. This wasn't about truth. It was about what could be proven. Harlan took the stand. He spoke smoothly. Confident. I felt threatened, he said. By what? The prosecutor asked. The subject's demeanor, Harlan replied. Marcus clenched his fists. Define demeanor, the prosecutor said. Agitated. Nervous. Marcus laughed once before he could stop himself. The judge looked at him sharply. Order, the judge said. Harlan didn't look back. The prosecutor asked one final question. Officer Harlan, he said. Did you access the civilian's phone? Harlan hesitated. Yes, he said. Without a warrant? Yes. Why? For officer safety. The prosecutor nodded. No further questions. The defense stood again. Officer Harlan, the attorney said. Do you harbor racial bias? No, Harlan said quickly. Have you ever been disciplined for misconduct? No. The attorney smiled. Thank you. Closing statements followed. Controlled. Polished. Then the judge spoke. This court finds insufficient evidence for criminal charges, he said. Marcus's chest tightened. But, the judge continued, the conduct raises serious concern. The judge looked directly at Harlan. I am referring this matter for departmental review, he said. Effective immediately. Harlan's face twitched. The gavel struck. Court adjourned. People stood. Whispered. Moved on. Marcus stayed seated. His father finally placed a hand on his shoulder. That's how silence works, Daniel Reed said. It speaks carefully. Marcus nodded. Harlan walked past them. His badge caught the light. Their eyes met. No victory. No apology. Just something unfinished. Marcus stood. Justice hadn't shouted. But it had started to move. The courtroom emptied slowly. Footsteps echoed against polished wood. Marcus stayed seated, shoulders heavy. Outside, the sun had dropped low. Golden light cut across the city, softening its edges. He felt the weight of every word, every cuff, every camera lens that had captured him. His phone buzzed. A message from his father. We'll talk tonight. Proud of you. Marcus leaned back on the bench. His wrists throbbed. His chest felt raw. The city carried on. Cars honked. Pedestrians hurried past. Nothing had stopped for him. But something had changed. Harlan's removal, the internal review, proof that systems could bend, even if slowly. That authority could be questioned. That courage mattered. Marcus exhaled, letting tension leave in slow waves. He remembered the porch lights, the phone's recording, the crowd's whispers. The public eyes had not been silent. He walked out of the building. A cool breeze met his face. He inhaled it, sharp and real. His father was waiting, quietly, watching him like he always did. I saw everything, Daniel said. Every mark, every word. You did exactly what you needed to do. Marcus shook his head. It didn't feel enough. Enough isn't the point, his father replied. It's what you did with it that counts. They walked together, side by side, down the steps. Marcus thought about the officer. about the system, about the record that was missing. Justice wasn't a final moment. It was layers. It was exposure. It was consequences slowly building. And though the victory was quiet and bittersweet, it was real. He looked back once at the courthouse. The lights inside were off now, dark and still. Everything that happened had left scars. Emotional ones, deep and lingering. But Marcus felt something else too. A small, steady flame. Resilience. The city moved on indifferent. But Marcus had changed. The fight wasn't over. Not entirely. But tonight he had survived. And survival, he realized, was the beginning of justice. The sun dipped below the skyline. Shadows stretched long. And Marcus walked forward,